98 Jeep Cherokee heater core removal. The only special tool set you'll need is to disconnect the air conditioning lines right there. You got these little collars. Start out disconnecting negative battery terminal. You have to take it to a shop, have them get rid of all your coolant, your refrigerant out of there for your AC system. These caps actually fit very well into these heater hoses. When you remove these two from the heater core up here, just put these AC line caps in there, and I hung them up here with a bungee cord just to keep them vertical. Did not take any more coolant than that out. Did not drain the system. Anyway, so once you finally get to your air conditioning lines, you can see these two guys, that one next to it. There are little square clips on there. Pull those straight up, no tool needed. Then you're going to use these guys to disconnect those two lines. They're two different sizes, two different connects. Push it in there, it disengages. I did have to loosen this up so I could move it around. I also disconnected that to facilitate that. Down here, there is a small little vacuum hose that goes into a T-fitting. Don't pull the T-fitting apart, just pull the simple little one piece off of it. That should have you down up here, except for your bolts. Blower motor down here, there's one bolt there. They have about an inch long stud. Underneath, down there on the firewall, there are two, one directly above the other. And then over here, there's one right there, and then one down there below it, for a total of 5. Have to remove all those. When I get to the inside and show you how I did the steering, just refer back to this part right here. Of course, you have the steering shaft right here coming out of the inside. This boot right here, this is just a slip fitting, so this piece right here will slide towards the inside and they disconnect. Just make sure your tires are already in the forward facing position before you do this, and your steering wheel is centered. Moving over here, starting with taking out the dash. Of course, this bezel right here just pulls out. You have clips here, here, there, and there. They simply just pull right out. Next thing I like to do, take the glove box out. You have 3 screws down here. Pull the glove box out, simple. Of course, I did remove both seats. Made moving around in here a lot easier. Also, the center console, super easy. You got 2 screws here, 2 screws down in there, 2 screws here. To remove this, just simply pull up on it. Brace yourself, because it takes a lot of force, and when you finally let go, you'll go flying into the back seat. So pull that straight up and off. That means you can simply pull this up and off. Take the light bulb, it'll slide right over. Same thing with this. Just literally pop that sucker up. Light bulb, disconnect it. There is one Phillips head screw right there. One Phillips head screw right there. You can see it by the pinky. Take those two out. You should be able to pull the console out. Too easy. Once you get that console, you can see these 2 bolts right here go to a little frame that goes back down here to the transmission tunnel. So bolt here under the carpet, bolt on the other side under the carpet. These 2 bolts, that lets you pull out the whole bottom side of the dash. So once you get to that part, that's what you'll need. Okay, starting under steering wheel, this panel, plastic panel, has 3 screws right here on the bottom. Remove those Phillips screws. Behind this is a metal plate, pretty close to the same shape. Screw over here, screw on the other side. Remove those 2. That gives you full access under here to your steering column. I also did remove the top and bottom halves of this to make pulling this guy out easier. There are just a couple screws under there, pull that right out. Okay, so to remove this cowl right here, 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. The rest of these just pop up and out. And so once you pull that up, then this top piece up here is all clips all the way across. That'll pull out and up. Also on each side, you have to remove the kick panel down here, which involves a couple screws along here just to free this up. There's a screw or a nut, I should say, a really cheap aluminum one right there by the fuse panel. Remove that. That will allow you to start removing this guy. So pull those out. This is out. That'll be out by then. Also take your other vent off the other side, your other kick panel. So now that you have access to under your steering wheel, right over here, behind here, is a big plug. It's probably 3 inches tall, a couple inches wide, tons and tons of wires going in. It has a bolt in the middle of that plug. You need to loosen that bolt, it doesn't come out all the way, and then disconnect the plug. Over on the other side, you can see the hood latch right above it on that side under the dash. There are 2 more huge plugs. They also have bolts in them. You need to back those bolts out, loosen it up, and then remove the plugs. It did give me a little bit of trouble just because I'm a big guy and took some fitting to get in there. Anyway, so now that you got all that done, so underneath here, so we got fuse panel, right side of the vehicle. Right back up under here is a bolt. I believe it was 11 or 13 millimeter. Loosen that up, probably to where it has about a 1/2 inch sticking out. Don't take it out all the way. Once you get back up here to the dash to start taking this out, underneath this guy there are 2 bolts there, and then there's going to be a stud here with a nut, a stud there with a nut, and then 2 more bolts over on that side. Once you get to that part, using a partner, like I said, I did not remove this, but I lowered it down. So, I guess I skipped that. On the bottom of the steering column, you got some big black shiny brackets. There are 2 bolts that go fore and aft, and there are 2 bolts that go up and down. Remove those nuts off the studs, and that will let you move your steering column in and out. Remember, like I said, when you pull it in, you will be disconnecting the junction under the hood, but it's okay, it slides right back on, no tools necessary. So, once this is dropped down, all your bolts are out, you got all the bolts along the side, you got your other bolt underneath that guy right back there. Once again, loosen it about a 1/2 inch out, not all the way. And what that will allow you to do is to pivot the dash towards you, to and from. So kind of get it lifted up off those 2 studs, pull it back, twist it to where I had this side of the vehicle back here, and that gave me plenty of access to everything under here. So your vacuum lines right here, you need to disconnect those. That was real easy. You got a relay right here, another plug, disconnect, super easy. One thing that did give me a little bit of trouble, so you can see this actuator cable coming from the back of the rheostat or whatever it is. You got this cable right here. So there is a little kind of steel thing you just slide right off to pull that cable off, and then this part right here, all you have to do is literally pull straight out on that guy. Mine's still loose right there. Put that back in. Okay, and that's all it takes. So once you have your dash pulled out of the way, of course you're going to have your 5 bolts removed on the inside of the firewall. This whole piece will pull out. Take that apart. Of course I didn't show everything in it, but it's very simple. All it is a case that needs to be cracked in half. There are bolts around the perimeter. There are a few bolts on top of it holding it together. Also, there's a bolt kind of... So you have your 2... If the hoses are removed, you'd see metal right there. That's the tip of the heater core. Inside the plastic box over there is a screw that goes this way into the box. You need to remove that. And other than that, it should come right out. Once you get the whole box out, remove these 3 simple screws around the heater core, or around the blower motor, I'm sorry, the fan, the squirrel cage, and that'll pull that out, and that'll allow you to crack the case, put it back together just like you can. Hopefully this video helps.